That when you went to Italy to visit some relatives in Italy, when you went to Italy, right? And how long? When was that?
I met her, the only girl, the only one that was living of that generation. She was still living in the Paterna, where the family used to live.
And where was this?
This is in Italy.
Where in Italy was it?
Spezzana della Sila.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. In fact, my father used to say that all the Pantusos who lived in Spezzana della Sila were related.
Uh-huh.
So if you get to know any Pantusos that came to America, that came from Spezzana della Sila, you can bet they belonged to our family.
Uh-huh.
They were part of the family. The family was called the family of Alessio.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know why it was called that, but that's what our family was called. The family, La Famiglia d'Alessio.
Now, how long ago was it you went to Italy? Remember what year it was?
It was back in 1973.
Uh-huh.
I believe it was 1973.
And did you, and so you met, who did you meet there, a cousin?
I met the cousins from Alessio's family. I mean, from the original Frank, my father's oldest brother. I met not only his daughter, but I met one of the nieces, and another daughter. She was visiting in France at the time. I'm trying to think of what her name was. She had an odd name, and I should remember it, but I don't remember it.
Well, the one you did meet was his daughter. She was your cousin.
Yes, yes.
But she was a lot older than you.
Oh yeah, she was older than I. She was as old as my mother.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
And
she was a little old lady. She was a darling lady.
And she lived. What kind of house did she live in?
She lived in the house where they all used to live.
Really?
It was a brick. It was a stone house.
Uh-huh.
Because they were stonemasons. My father's brothers and my father was a stonemason. It was a beautiful thing. It had a fireplace. In fact, she had a little chicken running around in her house.
What was her name? Do you remember her name?
Her name was. Isn't it terrible? Right now, I can't tell you unless I look up my papers.
Oh well.
I don't remember her name now. Isn't that awful?
Now when you so you went to Lewis Run the first time you went, you were very young. You were probably
Aunt
8 or 9 years
Maria
old.
was a baby.
So you were 8.
We went at Christmas time. That I remember.
Right.
But we have pictures of us, Aunt Joe and I, when we were kids. We lived in Pennsylvania. My mother and father lived in Pennsylvania for a while, you know.
Oh, you did? You actually lived there for a while when you were little?
Apparently, we did.
Well, you don't remember it.
No, I don't recall.
Now you went so you grew up in Mount Vernon. Where did you go to school?
Columbus School. We all went to Columbus School. All the Pantusos.
Uh-huh.
All the Pantusos of Uncle Bill's family. All the Granada girls from Aunt Caroline's family. We all went to Columbus School.
And did you? And then you went to A.B. Davis High School.
And then I went to. We went to junior high school first, and then from junior high school we went to A.B. Davis.
Oh. And now, when you we
went to Nichols Junior High because all the principal and all the teachers from Columbus School were moved there when I was in the 7th grade, because they were just starting something new, junior high.
Huh.
We were one of the first people that went.
Now, where did you live at the time when you went going to school?
No, I lived at 36 North 6th Avenue, across the street from the Lady Victory Church, up until June of 1936. And then we moved to Locust Street.
Oh, well, you lived on Locust Street.
Yeah.
And then when did your grandma and grandpa move to the North 6th Avenue place up on the 3rd floor?
That was after you were born.
Must not have been very much after, because there's pictures of me as a baby up there.
Yeah, right after you were born, they moved there.
Uh-huh. And then where did you live on Locust Street?
We lived at 335 North Locust Street. and Aunt Joe, my sister, she lived up the street on Locust Street, and my sister Johanna, she lived up the street on Locust Street, and Maria. We were all there at one time on Locust Street.
I'll be darned. Yeah. So then when you went to after you got married and you went the first time you went back to Lewis Run, was that when we were kids? Or did you go before that?
Yes, that was when you couldn't have been any more than 3 or 4 years old, because Mary Lou was only a baby.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Huh? Yeah, because Mary Lou was about 2 years old when the first time we went to Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And your father carried her in the bus, you know. Yeah.
And then we went by train one time when I was probably about 6 or 7.
Oh yeah, we went by train then, but you see, then from the train we had to take a bus.
We had to go. We left Olean, right?
Yeah, Olean. We had to take a bus.
So Olean to Bradford.
To Bradford, and then they
We took a bus. I don't remember the bus, but I remember the train.
Yeah.
And then we went when we drove there one year.
We went one year when we had the dog. Remember?
Yeah, we took the dog. And we gave the dog away to Josephine's brother, wasn't it?
Huh?
Was it Josephine's brother, Uncle John, cousin John's wife, Josephine? Wasn't her brother?
Yeah.
Who had worked for the oil companies?
Huh?
He worked in the oil field.
Yeah. Yes.
And we gave him the German Shepherd.
I can't remember his name either.
But it was her brother, right?
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Well, we spent most of the time with Johnny and Josephine Pantuso.
Right.
Yeah. But the first time we went to Pennsylvania, we stayed at Uncle John's house when we were you were kids. And then we went to, as you grew older, we went to Johnny's house.
You know, remember the year we went when the chicken got run over by the lawnmower?
Yeah, I remember something else.
Whose house was that?
That was Johnny's house.
That wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was in the house next door.
Well, they all lived together right near the end. I mean, you could walk from one to the other.
Right.
There was Uncle John, then there was Uncle Al, and then there was Johnny and Joe. And then there was Carmel and her husband. Remember, her husband was a sheriff. And then after that, down the street, they were all related. The whole little old town of Lewis Run, PA was run over by plantations. They used to own the water rights at one time. They really developed Lewis Run, Pennsylvania. They really did.
So so what was the most thing you remember the most when you were going to Lewis Run when you were a kid?
The fresh air, the beautiful country, the mountains, the trees. It was wonderful.
It was a lot different than Mount Vernon, huh?
It was country, huh?
It was a lot different.
It wasn't anything like the city.
Yeah.
And you know, at one time Uncle Al had a cow, and I remember when I was and Uncle John too had a cow too. I remember that. Al used to milk the cow, and then he used to squeeze the teat up so that you get a spray of the milk. Yeah.
So when you and then when you lived in Mount Vernon, did you spend much time with your cousins in Mount Vernon?
Oh yes, we used to go every Sunday down to when they lived down the street. The Pantuso, we used to go every Sunday down there. My Aunt Amina used to make hot chocolate. We used to have a lot of fun. But then, and when they moved up to 9th Avenue and 8th Avenue, we still went. They were a wonderful family because they were a big family, honey. There were a lot of cousins.
Right.